Hey YouTube, how's it going? My name is Kevin, also known as Phoenix, and we have a new standard rotation upon us. And for this video, I wanted to do something a little different. I usually focus on modern, and I wanted to switch it over to standard since, we have a new rotation and everything. And I'm going to be going over what I think is the best deck for week 1 of the new standard set. And for the best deck for the week 1 of the new standard rotation, I'm going to have to go with Izzet Dragons. Now, there were other contenders like Gruul Werewolves and Selesnya Landfall, but Izzet Dragons really stood out to me as a deck that had a lot of answers for most of the decks that I saw on Arena while I was grinding to kind of gather some data for this video. And yeah, I want to give you all a deck review of why I think Izzet Dragons is the best deck for the first week of the new standard format. One of the big reasons why I love the Izzet Dragons deck so much and I chose it to be my preferred deck for the new standard rotation is because it's a deck that's already proven itself. In case you're not familiar, Izzet Dragons was already a deck that was in the previous standard, and a lot of the core just kind of rolled over after rotation. And if anything, the deck really only gained support from the new Innistrad set, so I'm excited to play it out in paper and see how far it can go. The deck is a tempo style game plan type of deck. It really likes to use big threats such as Goldspan Dragon, and it has a few other dragons that can kind of be flexed in, so there's a little bit of variety in there, but Goldspan is a must in the deck. It's such a great card, 5 mana 4/4 flying haste. Whenever you attack or whenever it becomes the target of a card, you're going to create a treasure, and it can you can sacrifice it and add 2 mana of any color to your mana pool. This is going to help you ramp ahead, and not only that, it's going to allow you to utilize your tempo spells to be able to keep your Goldspan on the battlefield. For the lower end type of cards, you're using cards like Frostbite and Dragonspire to remove them off of the battlefield. And for the cards like enchantments or really big CMC cards, you are using cards such as Saw It Coming, for example, to be able to just counter them and not have to deal with the threat entirely. Now, I did mention new support for the deck, and there are 2 cards in particular that I want to go over, and the first one is going to be Smoldering Egg. Now, I love Smoldering Egg because it serves kind of 2 roles for the deck. It is a 2 mana 0/4 that whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, depending on how much mana you spent to cast the spell, you put that many counters onto it. Whenever you reach 7, you'll transform it into a 4/4 dragon that has the ability whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, you can shock any target. It's also just a 4/4 flyer as well, so it's also a pretty good body. Now, the reason why I like this card so much is because it is a 0/4 defender for 2, which means that this card will be able to block any early game threats in case you don't have the removal just ready quite yet. And if nothing else, you can play it, chump block something, and if they were bluffing, they didn't have the removal spell, and it actually lives, then you are able to, on the next turn, play your own removal spell and get value off of it in the form of counters on the Smoldering Egg. And eventually, when it does transform, you have another game-ending threat. The second card that I've been looking at is Memory Deluge, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, which is going to add consistency to our deck. And Memory Deluge is a 4 mana card that is going to look at the top 4 cards of our library that we get to put 2 of them into our hand. Doesn't matter what card types or anything like that, just put 2 of them into your hand. It also has flashback for 7, so you can cast this for 7 mana, and then you will look at the top 7 cards of your library, put 2 of them into your hand, and exile Memory Deluge from your graveyard. So the reason why I like Memory Deluge, again, is just to add consistency. I only run 2 of it in the deck, so I don't draw it too terribly often, but it definitely does help when you're facing against another mid-range deck or a control deck to just be able to, at instant speed on the end step, cast this card, kind of find exactly what you need, maybe a counter spell to protect your creature that you're about to cast, or just a board wipe to clear the board and reset the board state. Definitely helps with finding exactly what you need alongside expressive iteration. Definitely enjoying this card, and I think it is a good pickup for the deck. Next up, I want to go over why I think this deck is going to be the strongest deck in the next iteration of Standard. And that is because it practically has an answer to pretty much every other deck out there. You're going to be playing a aggro deck, we have access to single target removal. You're going to be focusing on going wide, we also have access to board wipes. You're planning on playing a control deck, well, we also have access to the counter spells. Not only that, but we also have access to very strong and prevalent creatures such as, again, Smoldering Egg, very strong creature, and Goldspan Dragon that has already proven the test of time to be an incredible threat and can definitely end games on its own. Of course, I also want to go over the weaknesses of the deck in case you're looking to play the deck yourself and you want to know what you should look out for, or perhaps you want to play in your LGS tournaments and you are thinking you might come up against this deck. So the weaknesses of this deck is that sometimes it can stumble. You know, I was talking about consistency earlier. Well, sometimes these cards don't exactly find you the answer you need, or perhaps sometimes you just draw the answers you don't need. The deck kind of is split 50-50 when it comes to counter spells and removal spells. So if I'm playing against a control deck, I don't really want to see the removal spells, but sometimes I just see a little too many and the game kind of gets out of control. Vice versa, you know, maybe I'm going against an aggro deck and I see way too many counter spells and the threats on the board I just can't really deal with, and they are just gonna kill my life total before I can even get a dragon on the field. Sometimes it happens, but overall I will say that the deck is a little bit stronger on the post game 1 because it can side out the irrelevant answers and put in more relevant answers, but generally speaking, the deck doesn't always line up perfectly, so definitely take advantage of your opponent might having have drawn the wrong type of answer. And that's going to do it for this video, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let me know in the comments what you thought of this type of video. Do you like these types of deck reviews, or maybe you would like me to do a deck review of a different type of deck? I'd love to hear what you have to say, and of course always check out my personal channel that there will be a link to down below, and it'll probably pop up on the screen at some point. Definitely helps me out, and I make other content as well, usually jumping back and forth between standard and modern. So again, be sure to check out my personal channel as well, and I will see you all next time.